Channel 3 Eyewitness News, live at 5.
Last month was the first time the
Channel 3 Eyewitness News, live at 5:30. Coverage you can count on in HD.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Greg Glover.
And I'm Cindy Sexton. The search continues for a superintendent in Hamilton County. Board of Education members met with the search firm Coleman, Liu and Associates today to discuss the process.
They had closed-door meetings with several education stakeholders in the community. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Tim Pham sat down with members of the search firm before the meetings to get an update on their progress.
Last month was the first time the board spoke with Coleman, Liu and Associates about the specifics of the search and what they want to see in the district's next leader. Today, the school board and other education stakeholders met privately with the search firm. Two representatives from Coleman, Liu and Associates arrived to the Hamilton County Central offices early to begin what they call a listening tour.
We are trying to immerse ourselves as much as possible without living here to understand the dynamics with the school system here and what a new person coming in is going to face.
In October, the school board hired the search firm with a $60,000 price tag. The Woodmore tragedy delayed the search. Now Coleman is beginning to meet with leaders and stakeholders in the community to create a unique job description.
We have tried to get a really broad spectrum for them. That's what they requested, and we've really tried hard to get them a broad spectrum of the community.
After the meetings end, the firm will start actively recruiting potential candidates and present a list to the school board. The firm's president, Ken Carrick, says they hope to do this within 60 days.
Once we get candidates and make the recommendation to our client, we lose control of the timetable. And there are lots of variables that come into play. One is how many candidates are going to be interviewed, where are they coming from, how long does it take to do the logistics.
Right now, there is only one named candidate, and that's current interim superintendent Dr. Kurt Kelly. We asked the search firm how they handle internal candidates. Carrick says they're treated the same, except their profiles will always be given to the school board.
We will give the board our candid opinion how they stack up against the external candidates. But as an outside party, we don't think we should make the decision up or down on an internal candidate, whether we think they're the best candidate of the group or they're not the best candidate of the group.
This is the third time the school board has used a superintendent search firm since 1997. Coleman, Liu and Associates says they hope to have a list of candidates within 60 days. Reporting in the studio, Tim Pham, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
The school board is also meeting tonight to discuss the transportation system.
Durham Bus Services has been under fire since the Woodmore bus crash in November. 6 children died in that accident, and the driver faces charges of vehicular homicide. Here's a live look at the meeting that began just a little while ago. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Tanisha Cordell is there. She will have an update for us coming up on Eyewitness News at 6. And of course, we'll continue to follow both of these stories closely. You can stay up to date here on Channel 3 and at WRCBTV.com.
A man who shot and killed a large deer in Jefferson County has been ordered to pay nearly $10,000 in fines. Media outlets report 63-year-old Clarence Robertson was fined $9,200 plus court costs under a new law. His hunting privileges are suspended until he pays the restitution. In a Facebook post, the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency reported Robertson shot an 11-point buck on Thanksgiving from the driveway of his home. The deer was in a hayfield where the TWRA says Robertson didn't have permission to hunt. Recent legislation allows for a judge to impose enhanced restitution fees for illegally killed trophy deer. The more antler points on the rack, the higher the cost.
FedEx and Walgreens have joined efforts to make it easier for you to receive and send packages. Walgreens expects to add FedEx drop-off and pickup service at thousands of Walgreens locations later this year and chain-wide by the fall of next year. Secure pickups have become an increasing concern with the growth of porch piracy, in which thieves make off with delivered packages when the buyer isn't at home.
A new study shows marijuana use may help in easing chronic pain, but it potentially raises the risk of severe mental illness.
A comprehensive new report released this afternoon cites the trade-offs in marijuana use. Mark Barger has details.
For marijuana supporters and detractors, today's report offers a split decision.
It doesn't come down strongly for one opinion or another. Like a lot of science, it's very nuanced.
A team of experts appointed by the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine reviewed all research on marijuana published since 1999. That led to nearly 100 conclusions. Among them, that cannabis is effective for the treatment of chronic pain in adults, muscle stiffness and spasms in multiple sclerosis patients, and in easing nausea from chemotherapy.
For people that have one of those conditions that it's likely to be helpful for, I think they can be very hopeful.
But the review also pinpointed marijuana's dangers.
It spells out very clearly that marijuana can be toxic and dangerous to children, and also it's dangerous to the developing adolescent brain.
There's also evidence linking marijuana to a higher risk of developing schizophrenia and other psychosis, as well as depression. The findings come as the number of states voting to legalize recreational marijuana use doubled in 2016, from 4 to 8, along with the District of Columbia. 28 states in the district have legalized it for various medical purposes. Mark Barger, NBC News.
A recent nationwide survey reported more than 22 million Americans aged 12 and up have used marijuana in the past 30 days. Now, 10% of that use was for medical purposes, the rest either recreational or a combination of recreational and medicinal.
And in Georgia, a lawmaker wants to let voters decide whether that state should legalize growing marijuana for medicinal use. A bill was filed today that would allow for a statewide vote on the issue next year if passed. The controversial moves by FBI Director James Comey, who cleared Hillary Clinton of criminality, then called her out in public for using private email, then said his investigation was resuming, will be investigated by the Justice Department's internal watchdog.
And that probe announced today was cheered by Democrats on Capitol Hill. NBC's Steve Handelsman has the latest.
Democrats have been charging that FBI Director James Comey might have cost Hillary Clinton the election, giving the win to Donald Trump, by ending the investigation of Clinton's emails with an unprecedented public condemnation.
They were extremely careless.
Then revealing the investigation was reopening 2 weeks before Election Day. Democrats applaud the Justice Department probing Comey.
He was afraid that an FBI office in New York would leak the information if he didn't say it publicly. Now, what does that say about the FBI?
Meanwhile, Donald Trump's team,
"You are fake news,"
is still asking accusing questions of the CIA and sister agencies.
Why intelligence officials or other people are leaking to the media.
Even though Director of National Intelligence James Clapper called Trump to deny his people leaked the unverified report that Vladimir Putin might have something on Trump. Mike Pompeo, nominated to head the Trump CIA, testified today he will focus on Russia.
Senator, I do. Indeed, I would expect that the president-elect would demand that of me.
And Trump Defense Secretary nominee James Mattis testified working with Russia is less likely.
There's a decreasing number of areas where we can engage cooperatively and an increasing number of areas where we're going to have to confront Russia.
Mattis throwing cold water on Donald Trump's boast that he can work with Putin. I'm Steve Handelsman, NBC News, Capitol Hill.
The president-elect today tapped Rudy Giuliani, who runs a security firm, to advise him on how to fight hacking, including Russian hacking, that coincidentally FBI Director Comey went to brief Congress on today.
President Barack Obama gave Vice President Joe Biden the surprise of a lifetime when he awarded him the nation's highest civilian honor. He pinned him with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. The distinction came as a surprise in a ceremony at the White House. You see teary-eyed Vice President Biden there accepting the award in front of his wife, children, and grandchildren. Only 3 people have been awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom with distinction over the last 3 presidencies. They are former President Ronald Reagan, former Secretary of State Colin Powell, and Pope John Paul II. Coming up live at 5:30, a look at the world's first airport for drones.
And another automaker is being called out by the EPA for violating the Clean Air Act.
Most of the rain's been well north of us for today, but the warm air has really moved in. I'll tell you how long that'll last on my 7-day forecast. This is our GPS cam looking off to the west. You can see some breaks in the cloud cover. That's nice. Let the temperature really respond today. Most of the rain is off to the north of us right now, showing up on the Viper. The little cold front is really stalling out and is fading out. There's really not much oomph to this. There's a little bit of moisture behind the front. In front of the front, there's just a few sprinkles here and there, but most of the rain's off to the north and west. It's going to stay off to the north and west too, so we're not expecting a lot of rain out of this. We pull back a little bit more, and not that much off into the Great Plains now, and these rain spreads all the way into parts of New England, right along that cold front. 64 in Fort Payne, 68 in Dalton. It's 67 in the city. Winds are lighting out of the south. Pollen count went up today. Yeah, that's when it gets this warm. There's a little bit of pine pollen and magnolia pollen, but that'll disappear once it gets colder. 56 Murphy, 66 Cleveland, and Athens at about 65. 67 was the high, 58 the overnight low. Just a couple hundredths of an inch of rain fell at the airport. Skywatchers told me nearly 70 in many spots from Trenton, Lafayette, Dalton, and Chatsworth and Calhoun all hit 70. 58 Ford Mountain, that's really warm for them. Even into the Blue Ridge quite warm. Delano 68, 66 Riceville. Cleveland was 65 and 66 from Lakeside to Soddy Daisy. And right here at Channel 3 we had 66 too. Ooltewah 67, Lookout Mountain 63, Colmont 62, while it was 60 up on Cagle Mountain, and nearly 70 in Etowah, nearly 70 up in 10 Mile, hit 68 up there, and Murphy at 63, Jasper 66. Latest Vipercast again showing that front really just stalling out. There's not much to it. Sprinkle is possible as it moves on by, but that's about it. The front stalling and sort of returning a little bit to the north, but what really happens, it really doesn't go anywhere because the winds in the upper atmosphere are parallel to it, so it's not pushing it anywhere. But all the cold air is off to the north of us, and I do mean in the 20s and low 30s to near 30 degrees. So when it rains up there, that's just not rain, that is freezing rain. And all this pink you see from Oklahoma, Kansas, all the way into the Ozarks and Missouri, that's going to be freezing rain. And they're very, very concerned with that. They're putting out all types of ice storm warnings right now throughout the Midwest and into the Great Plains. And this is going to continue through the whole weekend probably until maybe Sunday afternoon. And then it's going to lift off to the north out towards the Great Lakes. So this is Sunday at around 5 o'clock into the afternoon. And again, it's going to be a big mess all the way into Monday as it moves up into the cornfields of Iowa. Just rain and thunderstorms developing out to the west of us. That thunderstorm activity could move our way by midweek next week. But in the meantime, we're just going to have the nice warm temperatures, and they're going to be slipping and sliding all over the place across the Midwest with ice accumulating. For us, though, maybe a couple tenths of an inch of rain over the next 4 days, and that's about it. We'll see partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies probably for the whole weekend. Pinpoint forecast looks like this for tomorrow. Benton 64, mainly cloudy. And then as we get a little bit off towards the north in Sale Creek, 65 in mostly cloudy skies. 57 tonight, though. May see a sprinkle, but don't hold your breath. 67 tomorrow, cloudy, warm again. Southwesterly winds only 5 to 10, and a slight chance for a shower. Tomorrow night, 53, a sprinkles possible, especially early. And then on the 7-day forecast, only a 20% chance for a shower on Saturday. Sunday and Monday, 68. And if we get enough sunshine, we're going to get into the 70s probably. I wouldn't be surprised, 72, 73 degrees if the sun comes out. Then the big news is by Wednesday and Thursday, I think we're going to see a round of thunderstorms. And this time of year, when it gets this warm, you know, anything can happen. So we'll keep an eye on that. That's about a week from now.
A lot can change.
Oh, yeah,
now
and it'll change, I'm sure.
Yes,
will.
indeed. Let's check the drive home.
Channel 3 Eyewitness News traffic sponsored by CHM Memorial. For 40 years, the Chattanooga Heart Institute has been the recognized leader in advanced cardiovascular care. Visit ChattanoogaHeart.com.
Chattanooga police working to clear up a couple accidents. One to look out for: Lee Highway at Connor Lane. Also an accident on Broad Street near West 31st. Rush hour delays. Continue to watch for those if your commute takes you I-24 eastbound. View of that traffic as it moves between the Ridge Cut and the 75 split. To get from downtown to that 75 split, right now, according to TDOT, you're looking at about a 12 to 14-minute commute time. From the US 101 Information Center, it's Mo with your Eyewitness News traffic.
More to come on Live at 5:30. Located half an hour outside of Las Vegas, it's the world's first airport for drones. A look at it, what it's for, and why other drone airports could be coming in the future.
And new at 6, Lieutenant Commander Tim White received a standing ovation at the Tennessee State Capitol. Tonight at 6, he's telling us how he defended his staff during the deadly terror attacks in July of 2015.
What if your imagination didn't?
Every year at CES, we see things we've never seen before.
What if your imagination didn't have to wander? What if the sky wasn't the limit and the possibilities were truly endless? What if the future was a blank canvas and your mind a clean slate? What if the next generation of innovative dreamers was raised right here in Gig City? What if is now why not? Introducing NextNet, 10 gig internet only from EPB Fiber Optics.
It seems like forever. An airport in your mind involved big planes taking passengers to destinations around the world. But a new type of airport seems to be taking off that has nothing to do with jetliners.
Our consumer technology reporter Jamie Tucker has the story and why this type of airport could be coming to a city near you.
Every year at CES, we see things we've never seen before. This year, this one is about 35 miles away from Las Vegas. It's the very first airport for drones. You used to only hear the wind in the Nevada desert, but now that sound you hear is what some people call the future. The El Dorado drone port consists of around 50 acres of Nevada desert, a 500-foot runway, terminal building, an area for testing and training, and lots of potential.
This is phase one. Phase 1B is actually a 40,000 foot or 40,000 square foot terminal building that focuses in, the crews and concessionaires and things you'd normally see in an airport.
Is there really a need for an airport just for drones? Well, if the industry is correct, over the next 9 years, drones will create over 100,000 high-paying jobs. Right now, drones can only fly 20-25 minutes tops, so drones that fly here stay here. That will change someday, probably soon. So drones can take off here and land at another drone airport miles away.
So we actually do expect, and I've talked to Amazon about this, that at some point one of their distribution centers will have a drone pad, and that will have certain requirements and certain build-out restrictions that are standardized across every drone pad in the United States.
And as companies like Amazon begin making deliveries with drones, there's a good chance we'll start seeing other drone airports pop up around the country, and they'll all take a lesson from this area drone just outside of Las Vegas.
Jamie Tucker, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
The El Dorado drone port is owned by Boulder City, that's near Las Vegas. This new airport for drones prompted the Federal Aviation Administration to come up with a brand new set of regulations for similar airports. Well, the Honest Company, co-founded by actress Jessica Alba, is recalling all bottles of its organic baby powder in the U.S. Information posted on its website says recent tests show possible contamination with microorganisms that could cause eye or skin infections. Under the guidance of the FDA, the Honest Company has decided to recall the product, quote, out of an abundance of caution. Consumers can return the product for a full refund. No other products from the Honest Company are affected by the recall.
Ford Motor Company is adding more than 800,000 vehicles in North America to the Takata airbag inflator recall. The vehicles involved have front passenger airbag inflators made by Takata that can explode with too much force and spew metal shrapnel. At least 16 people have died worldwide with the problem. More than 180 have been hurt. Find a list of the added Ford vehicles on our website and in our app. First, it was Volkswagen. Now the Environmental Protection Agency says Fiat Chrysler has violated the Clean Air Act. The EPA reports the automaker failed to disclose software in some of its diesel engine pickups and SUVs that allows them to emit more pollution than allowed under the Act. This comes one day after federal prosecutors announced Volkswagen would plead guilty to criminal charges and pay a record $4.3 billion penalty for cheating on emissions tests. More information and which vehicles involved can be found on our website.
Still to come on Live at 5:30, a settlement in the death of a boy killed on the world's tallest water slide.
Plus, NFL fans in Los Angeles will now have two teams to cheer for, as the San Diego Chargers are no more. They're headed north.
What the Tech is brought to you by
Gig City's only local provider of the fastest internet and sharpest HD TV, EPB Fiber Optics.
The family of the boy killed last summer on what's considered the world's tallest water slide has reached a settlement with the park's owner.
Exact terms of the deal filed yesterday have not been released. Caleb Schwab, the 10-year-old son of a Kansas lawmaker, was killed last summer while riding on a slide at a water park resort in Kansas City. A spokesperson says the park plans to demolish the water slide.
It's official. The San Diego Chargers are moving to Los Angeles. Team owner Dean Spanos released an open letter on the Chargers Twitter page that announced his decision. In that letter, he thanked the city and the fans and went on to say, quote, "Today we turn the page and begin an exciting new era as the Los Angeles Chargers," unquote. The move comes after the organization and the city were unable to reach a deal for a new stadium for the team.
Here's what's blossoming in Japan: winter sweets, Japanese apricots, and plums. Mogusa Garden is famous for those three kinds of tree blossoms this time of year. A garden keeper expects a lot of spectators this weekend. Now here's a look at what's coming up at 6. The Hamilton County Board of Education is meeting right now discussing the superintendent search. The search firm is in the meeting. We're learning how they plan to fill the vacant spot.
Plus, what object police say led to one suspect shooting his ex-girlfriend's brother. Now officers say that same suspect was shot a week later.
I'm thankful to still be alive and be able to share with others the courageous acts that happened on July 16th.
Lieutenant Commander Tim White describes the day he says his life was changed forever. The deadly attacks of July 16th. Those stories and more next, right here at 6.